Welcome everybody and thanks for joining me for today's preview of the 144th running of the Kentucky Derby. We're coming to you live from New Paltz, New York. This is Max Action. Now what we're going to do today is give you a rundown, a little bit of information on all 20 entrants in the Derby. We're going to provide you with some betting strategies for each horse and the race as a total, and we're going to do all that in less than 10 minutes. So thanks for staying with me. I promise you, together we can make some money. First horse of the day, Firenze Fire, full disclosure, who's one of my three still alive, although now I consider them dead. Future bets, he's a bad version of Gunnevera. He's an even worse version of Keen Ice from 3 years ago. He's a plotter. He's going to get around the track. That's about the best you can say. Is it inconceivable that he gets fourth? It kind of is. He might do it though. At 50 to 1, he's a toss away. Free Drop Billy, he's never shown signs of being a good horse. His pedigree suggests distance. That's something we can talk about in 5 weeks at the Belmont. If he skips the Preakness, that's if he ever even finishes this race. Already spent too much time on him. Promises fulfilled. He was on track. He was looking like a superstar until the Florida Derby. Sometimes you just have to toss one bad race away, not when it's at a mile and eighth, not when it's a good competition. I have no idea what happened to him. 31 is a bit intriguing for a horse that was on track, but there are better choices down the road. One of those better choices is up next. It's Flame Away. He's early speed. He likes a wet track. Forecast isn't the best, but it's also not calling for slop. That's something we're going to have to look at, at post time. If it's wet, Flame Away moves up my board. Right now, he's somebody I'm going to probably include. Although I am troubled by the fact that he has lost to a variety of Derby horses. He lost to Quip, he lost to Mendelssohn, he lost to Good Magic. It suggests that he's not top tier. It suggests that he's not going to do much in this race. But he is somebody to keep in mind, especially if it rains. Audible, you got Pletcher, you got Castellano, you got 5 wins in a row. He's on the Always Dreaming Orb track. Holy Bull, Florida Derby wins. These are quality races from a quality racehorse. There's really not a lot not to love about this horse. Maybe, and unfortunately, the 5 slot is a little too inside for him. I don't think he has the early high-end speed that's going to carry him through the race, especially with speed to the inside and Flame Away speed to the outside. Would Justify. I think he might get a bit of a troubled trip. If he does get a good trip, if Castellano does decide to go early with him and then has the opportunity to back down, I think he has a great chance to win this race. We will obviously talk more about him in a little bit. Good Magic, he is a son of Curlin. He has run some great races. Obviously, he's a 2-year-old champ. He won the Breeders' Cup Juvenile last year. Awesome performance in the Bluegrass. There's really no other way to describe it. But then again, he's had a dud. And some people call it a training race. And some people call it a prep. I just call it a dud. He bothers me that he's not consistent, that he hasn't shown a steady progression. If he gets to the pace early, I think he's got a chance. But he's got a wave of 14 horses crashing in front of him. He's got the best horse in the field, Justified, directly to the outside of him. How does he handle that? There's a lot of questions around him at 12 to 1. He's a play. Being a son of Curlin, I think he's going to get moved down. You're probably looking at a post time of 7, 8 to 1. That's just not going to be enough to take a horse who's probably too inconsistent for my liking. Justify. 5 favorites have won the Derby in a row. He's a favorite. He has absolutely demolished everybody in the 3 races he ran. He beat Bolt d'Oro so badly that Bolt d'Oro is now not considered a favorite by any stretch of the imagination. He has a habit of just running away with races. I wouldn't be surprised if he did that here today. He's big, he's strong, he's improving, and most importantly, he's fresh. Lack of experience is a concern, but he was helped. He was helped by the 7 slot. Most trainers want to be anywhere from 6, 7, 14 at the most. He's right in that middle. He's going to shoot out. He's going to get the trip he wants. Justify is the class, and it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough for anybody to compete with him if he gets the trip he wants to get. Lone Sailor, just even saying his name has been a waste of time. Hofburg, he's the classic wise guy horse. Nero was a few years ago. They never seem to do much. He was a distant second to Audible in the Florida Derby. If that floats your boat, great. You can bet him. I'm not gonna. There's no lack. He has no quality wins. He has a total lack of experience. You can talk about the training all you want. At this point, what horse is not training well? See you later, Hofburg. My boy Jack, as my radio counterpart here, Mike Francesa would say, he is a compiler, okay? He's a compiler. He's in the Derby because he got a bunch of thirds. He's always second tier. He has not done anything to warrant being here or being a true contender, on top of which he's training poorly. We'll see you later. Get lost, as Francesa would say. Bolt d'Oro, as I said, he got beat so soundly by Justify that he's up to 8-1 and he's going to go higher. People say he never grew from his 2-year-old year. A little bit like Shanghai Bobby. We know how that ended. Bolt d'Oro is a toss, low odds, get rid of him. Enticed. It's safe to say I'm enticed by Enticed. He ran an absolute blow-away win 2 races ago. Last race in the Wood, he got ran down by a very good Vino Rosso. He might be the best 30-1 you're ever going to get. I think he gets there. I think he stays right around those odds. I think the last race is going to scare a lot of people away, but I don't think it should. He really has shown flashes of being a very good horse, a grade 1 winner. I definitely think he is. This spot, maybe not, but I do like his post position at 12. I think I'm going to take a flyer on him. A small win bet, maybe a 5% of your bankroll bet on him, but he's definitely going to be on a lot of tickets in tries and in supers, and I think he warrants that. I think he's that talented of a horse. Is he the biggest horse in the race? No. Okay. Is he a little, maybe distance challenge? Yeah, maybe. But I think that was more of a product of Vino Rosso not being distance challenge, really. So he's definitely an intriguing horse. He's an enticing horse, to say the least. Bravazzo, 6th place in Louisiana Derby, which never produces any winners. Okay. That's basically all you need to say there. Mendelssohn, he's 3 for his last 3. He's proven that he can come over from Europe and win. He did it on turf, though. Dirt's a little different. This is a long race. That was a short race. He's got what I consider to be a bad trifecta. He's got a short price, so big jockey, and he shipped in late. At 5-1, he's not a play. Does he have a serious chance to win? Yeah, he does. He really does. But I just don't think he's worth the play if you're talking about odds. In Still Regard, not a top horse. The best I can say is he'll probably finish somewhere in the middle of the pack. Magnum Moon. Now, a lot of people love him. Paul LaDuca has been talking him up, and rightfully so. He's 4 for 4. He's not a lot not to like about him. He's trained by Todd Pletcher. If 6-1 holds, he's a serious steal. You can put a decent sized bet on him at 6-1. He's probably the most serious contender. 16 hurts him a little, doesn't kill him. He should be right there. Solomini, lightly raced as a 3-year-old, battled through some small injury issues. I think he's an uber talented horse. I don't know if he has enough seasoning to win this race or to be a serious contender in it. He is a threat. Would have loved him inside of Justify. Obviously, he's not. He's way outside at 17. I think he's still going to hit the board. He's an in-the-money machine, really. He'll be on many tickets of mine. Vino Rosso, he and Solomini were my other 2 future bets. I don't think they're alive anymore. Vino Rosso, I think, is killed by the 18 slot. Only horse really to win from the 18 slot in recent memory has been American Pharoah. American Pharoah, Vino Rosso is not. What he is a good quality horse who will have wins later. Curlins tend to develop a little later in the season. I think he's a play for the Belmont. I think he's a great play for the Travers. If you can get to Vegas now and put a future bet in there, they're durable horses. They run all the time. He should be right there. He might even take down whoever the favorite, or he might be the favorite in the Travers when we get up to beautiful Saratoga. He'll be a lot of show bets for me. He'll be on the back end of tries. I think he tires late, though. Somewhere mid-stretch, I think he's going to get gobbled up by the field and probably finish out of the money. Noble Indy. Usually I love the Louisiana Derby winner. Usually I'm wrong. In fact, I've been wrong every time except once, and that was in 1996. And to give you some frame of reference, I was still downloading Mortal Kombat codes on AOL chat rooms back then. So That's where we are. Let's move right along to Combatant, 50 to 1. It's probably the best 50 to 1 in the race. I don't know what that means to you, but it means a little bit to me, especially on the back end of bats. He's going to chug along for a non-competitive, third through sixth. He'll be crossing the finish line in a mess of other horses, but it's not inconceivable that he's going to place or do something right around there. Betting. What we're going to get into right now, that was a quick run through. I'm a little over time. Stay with me here. Betting, as my friend Chatty Vegas says, put the most money on the horse you think is going to win the race. Well, every year for the past 5 years, the best horse in the race, the favorite, has won the race. That's Justified. I'm thinking 75-80% of your bankroll on Justified to win. He was only helped by the 7th slot. He comes in with, one of the best trainers in the world, okay? One of the best jockeys in the world. Yeah, it's a little troubling. Mike Smith's been 1 for 23 in his Derby career. Maybe there's some pressure setting in, especially a jockey of his caliber. But it's not going to hurt him. Mike Smith is not going to hurt Justify. He's going to help him. I think he was helped tremendously by being outside of who I consider Audible, his chief competition. It's going to make Audible make a decision. It's going to have Justify have a clean break. Justify, the two on the outside, who I think also Vino Rosso and Magnum Moon, they're going to be 3 lengths behind him by the time they get to the first turn, just by virtue of having to cover more ground. He's going to have a nice clean run. I think he'll have some early speed, which will put Flame Away without much of a problem. I think he'll cruise at his high top end speed, and I think he's going to run around the track and win the race. I think this year's no different. Okay? 2 years in a row is worth noting. 3 years in a row is coincidence. 4 years in a row is a trend. 5 years in a row can't be ignored. It's going to be 6 years in a row this year. Justified wins the Kentucky Derby. Now on to betting. Let's make some money. Your big bet's going to be on Justified. Flame Away at 20 to 1 or better if those odds hold. Use them all day in your tries. Throw a show bet on them. Should hit. Should help you out here. Audible and Good Magic, if their odds hold at 8 to 1, 12 to 1 respectively, even if they tick up or just slightly down, they're going to be in almost all my tries and Zacta's. Entice, 20 to 1 or better, which I think you're going to get better on. He's going to be on almost all my tickets. You're going to want to take a small flyer bet on him to win. And you're going to want to use him on a lot of your tickets. He's a horse that has a real shot of being in the money and of winning. Mendelssohn, not worth it odds-wise. Can he win? Yes. 5 to 1 with what's stacked against him, not going to do it. Not worth it to me. Magnum Moon, a big Zach the Box would Justify. I think on those two on top, if you want to throw some longer shots in the mix, that's fine. Those two horses, Magnum Moon, Justify, are the class of this field. Solomini is a better version of Enticed. 17 slot kills him, I think. 30 to 1 is a steal, though. Small win bet, just like with Enticed. Use underneath on a lot of those tickets. Vino Rosso, is likely to go down with Johnny V and Pletcher from 12 to 1. I hate that. I hate the 18. If he was anywhere else inside, I'd love him all day long. I don't love him anymore. It saddens me to say it, but I think he's out of the running. Might he appear on a super for me? Yeah, maybe, just as he's crossing the finish line exhausted. Combatant, if you're betting him, you're out of luck, and you're out of money, and out of ideas. But he might get a third place, total non-competitive. So if you want to include him, if you got some extra money from some races you won early in the day, you might want to throw him. You might want to throw him on the back end of that Zach the Box with Magnum Moon and Justify, or even make that, those two over him and Enticed and Solomini in a try. So that's an idea. That's some ways to make some money on this race. Thanks for watching, and always remember, if you don't bet, you can't win.